Good morning, fellow Ambazonians. Today, na Tuesday, number 4 day for this number 10 month for the year 2022. My name na Capo Daniel. I am the Deputy Defense Chief of the Ambazonian Defense Forces and the spokesman of the Ambazonian Governing Council, aka Sense Pass King, una own countryman. Una welcome to our daily podcast. This one na a program where we talk the truth. We bring una meaningful information for help we as we work for this journey to our freedom, the independence of Ambazonia. Good citizens of Ambazonia, we start today with distraction from the Colonial Mayor, the unelected Colonial Mayor for inside Kumbu, for the great state of Bui, for try to take out oxygen for the joy in the heart of Ambazonians after celebrating their Independence Day. This Colonial unelected Mayor, he then put out a document, say the one ban, the one close the market for inside Mveh, because say all traders and for the people where they sell for market, they support Ambazonian forces them for day. The question remains, how can you close the door when you don't even have the keys? This mayor is inconsequential. He is imposing himself on our people and have no authority. His order should be disregarded by our population and the market should go on under Ambazonian control. Let the mayors, unelected mayors all across Ambazonia should know that all Ambazonian traders are supporting the Ambazonian fighters. All Ambazonian citizens are supporting of the Ambazonian fighters, and there is nothing you can do about it because the people of Ambazonia have chosen to stand for their right and for their freedom and independence, and so shall it be. This ban and closure of this market is illegal even under the colonial constitution. Would they ask for anybody where get information where feel lead we for the arrest of this man where named na Mborong Vernatius Bongkiyung. If any man no place where they stay, if any man no way to where if he do Mveh for stop this criminality and act of terrorism against our people, please contact the ADF as soon as possible. Provide the information, and if you can do something to stop this threat he is giving to our people, do something. We are going to reward you very, very richly. Even in Yaoundé, where he resides, and in Douala, where he also resides temporarily, we are putting out an urgent arrest warrant for Mr. Mborong Vernatius Bongkiyung for act of treason and conniving with a foreign government to impose their rule in Ambazonia. There shall be consequences of collaborators and enablers of genocide and occupation of Ambazonia. Make no mistake, 99 days for the thief, 1 day for the owner. Their day shall come. The pride of Ambazonia, for their forces have been restored. Our people have seen their children who have picked up arms to defend themselves and to defend their neighborhoods and their country and the sovereignty of Ambazonia stand up and be counted to celebrate our nationalism and to show the world that Ambazonia means business. We are resilient and we are going nowhere. The thousands of Ambazonian soldiers have reignited the hearts and minds of our people to refocus on their liberation movement. All the manipulation on media, as we see the media still continue that manipulation, seeking to explore a video by rogue forces in Balinyonga and promoting an angle of the reporting of the 1st of October celebration to be that paints a black picture for Ambazonia. If there is anything that our people can take from this is to learn our lesson and know that indeed our soldiers are motivated not by money, not by kidnapping, crimes, or intoxication with power, but they are motivated to fight for a political outlook for our country, for a political objective, that of independence of our territory. These are not criminal gangs who are taking advantage of chaos of war. These are individuals who are heroes sent, as the Bible said, and the Rabbi, Jesus Christ, said, how honorable is it for a man who is ready to lay down his life for his friends. Indeed, the Ambazonian soldiers are the heroes of our time, and we will continue to encourage them to adopt best practices and not to give in to faceless individual simply because of money or because of support in the diaspora or at home. But they should take decisions, and their conduct should be guided by the principle of public interest and what is going to give us independence. We have also have a lot of feedback from our citizens, and we want to make sure that we transmit those feedbacks to our people, not just to give publication from the angle of the leadership of the governing council and general perspective of the Ambazonian liberation, but to reflect the feedbacks we get from our people. There is one feedback in particular which I want to highlight in this report. The lady, it seems to be a lady from the profile picture, said that it means that everybody will now come under the ADF and the governing council, since they are the leaders now. And she went further and said that, Capo Daniel, you are working so hard for the egg of C. You should work for Ambazonia. And I think this is a result of poor activism and poor articulation of our struggle previously. And we have to change that. When people have this impression, it is very sad, but it is a challenge that we must overcome. Ambazonians should know that we don't work for an organization per se. We don't receive salary for our work. We are citizen volunteers that are committed to our liberation struggle and are loyal to the organization that we serve, because those organizations are committed and are loyal to Ambazonia. The organizations we serve are simply a vehicle for Ambazonia. For anybody to be effective, you must be organized. Organization is the way human beings can pursue any political goal. You must come together and organize yourself, whether it is a public manifestation of anger, revolt, or be it in America or in any part of the world. Every time people rise up, some of those who are outspoken or who have stand up to speak in a way that reflects the mindset of the people must come together, put things in order so that they can better present what the population wants. Human beings must organize themselves. So organization is just how people operate. You cannot organize a country without organization. Even a government itself is an organization. Remember that the United Nations is an organization. We have to understand how things work. Organization in itself is for a purpose. The Ambazonian Governing Council, as well as Maurice, as well as the Republic of Ambazonia, as well as the various organizations we have in Ambazonia, is just a way that people must organize themselves to operate. Our people have become so used to a one government that has all power, that does everything, the colonial power government that we have, that sometimes they get confused whether organizations are individual people's thing or it's a group thing. No, organizations serve the nation. Governments are indeed organizations that have transformed themselves to have exclusive power by virtue of the population empowering them through democratic processes. Sometimes government emerge from organizations that have used force to gain legitimacy by expressing or bringing together a nation under sovereignty for the people's interests, and thereby they are recognized as an organization that represents that territory or that place. So organizations are important. Just because we belong in organization does not mean we are fighting for the organization. We are fighting for Ambazonia through that organization, because that organization itself is for Ambazonia. Such simple things that people don't understand. You have spoilers, enablers, and Cameroon agents. They take advantage of lack of understanding for this concept, and they mislead our people or cause confusion in our liberation struggle. And they ask me, do I believe that everybody should be under the ADF and the egg of C for us to succeed? Because that is what the impression they have each time I criticize other organizations. No, they are wrong. I don't believe, and we don't share the opinion that everybody should belong under the ADF or under the Ambazonian Governing Council. And we also criticize the ADF. People should not think that when we criticize another group, it means that we want that group not to exist. But they should look at criticism at the context. We may simply be pointing out an error, a mistake, or something that that group is doing that will affect everybody if care is not taken. Criticism should be seen in context, not out of context. This poor way of understanding have also made people of other groups to think that they must criticize or bring down other groups for them to stand up, and that is just wrong. We must continue to engage each other in debates, positive debate, even heated debate, because the stakes are high, but we should do so responsibly, and our people should have that responsible view of these things. Our people have picked up many things for La Republic. Even videos that we share, when the Cameroon government clone our accounts and share those same videos, they have more views. It is because social media is being manipulated and Ambazonians' legitimate accounts are being suppressed by most of these media organs who make money from donations from states like that of Cameroon. It is not a problem of content or followership or impact, because if it was a content problem, videos that we share on our Facebook page, it gets less than 10% views when it is being shared by the enemy or people who are controversial. That is just how the fee is. As they say, the liberation will not be televised. We are motivated not by viewership or by followings. We are motivated by our desire and yearning for freedom and our love for our people. That is why they cannot break us no matter what happens. And that is why those who are motivated by those things, these shadows, easily fade away with time. You don't see them doing the same things they were doing, even when the stakes are high. I will give one example for the things that Ambazonia have picked up from La Republic unknowingly. One of the things is to put faces on the ground. You remember an old video, the first time General Mveh came out in Kumba carrying an AK-47 saying he is going to challenge La Republic. Kunyam Titus then, who a lot of our people did not know who he was and confused him for somebody who is an Ambazonian freedom fighter who is just frustrated and condemning people because they are not doing things the right way, was the first person who criticized that video and was saying that how can a soldier show his face outside? You people see you are now showing your face outside, tomorrow they will come and kill that soldier. He was doing so because they know that when people can be able to show their face, it means that they have demonstrated boldness that will frighten Cameroon's military and demoralize their population. So they were always criticizing our people, do not show the face. Do not show face of soldiers. Of course, you can never win a war if you cannot get to a position where there are faces on soldiers. That is just how it is. Those glass ceilings must be broken. The fear of La Republic, the fear of death must be overcome for us to have freedom. Of course, we have to have a balance between what we put out there and what we don't put out there. But we must demonstrate the capability of being able to show our face and stay alive. That is why the presence of Ambazonian soldiers, no matter what Cameroon government do, we need them all alive for our own victory and the projection of our strength. Many people have picked up these things and they will be shouting on it on social media, and they don't even know where these things come from. The Cameroon propagandists, they have been on social media as well, promoting the idea that we should not announce our attacks before we carry out attacks, because they know that the announcement itself strikes fear and demoralizes the enemy. It keeps them awake and keep them stressed, even when we do not attack or in areas where we are not attacking. It gives indication to their own population that this thing is not over yet, and their international partners fear the worst. That's why they focus on intimidating our people and putting out propaganda that causes our people sometimes to pick them up because the thing sounds reasonable, and say we should not attack, we should not launch attack, we should not make announcement before we attack. Remember, most groups around the world strive by causing panicking by simply making threat, but not empty threat, because indeed we have built the capacity to go through, and we do go through with the threats we make. We take them seriously, and we do carry out attacks against the occupation forces each time we make those threats. The Cameroon propagandists have also championed the call that we should not be showing attacks. Revolution, we should not be showing we should be just in the bush, be like guerrilla fighters. We should not come out to show attacks, because they know it will sound reasonable to a layman, but you need to be able to demonstrate and show those attacks, because it indeed scares the enemy, it frightens them, and it shows them they are losing. That's why Cameroon government, they even selectively show the type of images of their forces that they want us to see. Depends on how they think they can cause confusion amongst our people. And it's the same thing with their media outlets. So we must understand that war is not just simply by guns. Even the reporting of war, information warfare is also an integral part of our war. Our people should never forget the logic of the oppressor is the use of fear. And the only way the oppressed can defeat the enemy is to go above that fear. Those who preach the agents of La Republique, their message will always be to reinforce the logic of the enemy, to make our people be afraid, to make our people be worried. And for those who are fighting for Ambazonia, they will always preach the contrary to La Republique, to make their La Republique be afraid and to make them to be worried. Our people have been under oppression for long. Normally, during liberation struggle, there are many centers of powers, many areas of interest. You have religious group, you have traditional groups, you also have cultural sensitivity. So in the face of a general uprising, it is normal that people who are concerned about their own areas of influence, their interests, the traditional people in a particular village may group themselves and see how they may support people in their area to defend primarily their interests, which may be a tribal interest who want to protect their fund, who want to protect some family or some interest, or a group of church people, they want to support some forces because they don't want the church to be attacked. These are very common things. But this type of reaction to liberation struggle should be very distinct from a national movement which is based on nationalism, the nationalist group. That is where everybody who have to support must put their support there as a priority for the complete liberation of a homeland. These small groups of individual interests and tribal interests should never triumph and should never be projected as a nationalist group. I will give an example, the Tabikwifo. The Tabikwifo will claim that they are a Mancon force, but if you ask them, what are they protecting in Mancon? Are they representing the Tabikwifon? Is the Tabikwifon under attack or under threat? And the answer will definitely be no. What we are protecting and what we are fighting for is the territorial integrity of the whole Ambazonia, not a tribal group. These tribal entities and protections should exist within the context of our nationalism and should never try to project themselves over nationalism, but they should let nationalism and nationalist movements to triumph and enable them, facilitate the national policies and national interests. Tribalism and tribal interests, small group interests should be at the background and let the projection of nationalism be at the forefront. So sometimes the nationalist group are confronted by this group of tribal individuals who wants to speak their vernacular to soldiers. And those conflicts usually, the nationalists should triumph. You should not insist that you must talk your language or you should disturb people who are in your area from taking instructions from nationalist leaders and to separate themselves to exist just like tribal groups. You will ultimately be undermining the liberation of what you hold dear. And if you look at the Cameroon media, they will tend to always promote tribal groups over Ambazonian nationalists. They will talk about the name and they will name tribal groups, but they will never mention the name of any groups that have a national projection of Ambazonia. They will never do so because it is not in their interest. That is why you find Francophone activists and main Cameroon media, when they talk about our struggle, they avoid talking about the personalities of the nationalists and the organizations and forces of the nationalists or their activity altogether, because it goes against their national instinct to protect their own country. But the tribal groups and tribal affiliation and tribal cartels, they should understand that it is their interest to support the nationalism and national group and pay loyalty to them for a better position post-independence. Any interest group that becomes a barrier to nationalism or the nationalist movements and do not give priority to them, they become run under and forgotten in history. These are things that are well documented across the globe. And we also know that people fighting for liberation have been denied relevance for long. And in an era where just simply using your phone can make you to become popular, it is very appealing for some people to be motivated simply by just popularity and fame to engage in Ambazonian struggle and be fighting over things that will give them fame over Ambazonian nationalism. Those interest groups should always put Ambazonian first and should not lose steam when they don't feel they have fame or they are in the forefront of things, but should always put Ambazonian first. That is what will triumph. Each time you do that, you stand on a solid foundation and you are going to be a useful tool for your people. It is only a nationalist group, national idea that can attract international reputation that is required for the freedom of our country and beloved mother Ambazonia. Capo Daniel, signing off.